Initially, I was a bit apprehensive about riding the Hayabusa. No, the 200 odd bhp didn't scare me after the BMW experience, which you have already seen on my channel. It wasn't the acceleration either that I was worried about, or the top speed, which is electronically limited to 299 km per hour. It was the weight and the sheer size of this motorcycle. Sport bikes are meant to be light, sleek and flickable, but then the Busa enters the picture and all of that goes away. I mean, it's more than 2 meters long and has a wheelbase of 1480 millimeters, and at 260 kg, I'm not even sure if Suzuki even thought about the weight reduction on this motorcycle. It's also the widest thing between my legs in all these years. So it's an early Sunday morning with the temperature rising by the hour, but at least the tires are up to temperature, and I'm going to ride a 1340cc Hayabusa for the very first time. And what is the first question that comes to my mind? Does it corner? The Hayabusa gives a very bulky and stable impression from the first glance, but I've always thought that it would fare poorly in corners. I guess I was wrong. The Hayabusa doesn't go into corners with the usual eagerness of a liter bike. It has to be led into it smoothly, but the mid-corner stability is just amazing. I know that this long sweeping corner favors the motorcycle, and tight hairpin bends or chicanes won't be easy on this motorcycle. Especially picking up the motorcycle from the left and immediately flicking it over to the right side would be difficult because of the weight. But the front end gives so much confidence on this motorcycle, it's just amazing. The power is also delivered very smoothly. Of course, I'm on C mode for the cornering test, and I will talk about the power modes later on in more detail. The suspension setup is also perfectly soaking up the slight bumps within the corner without unsettling the bike. Overall, the motorcycle is so composed in handling these curves that it gives the rider a great confidence to push the motorcycle. I would say the handling far exceeds my expectations on this motorcycle. I would like to point out one thing, however. The turning radius on this bike is ridiculously large, especially with the clip-on handlebars. You feel the weight of the motorcycle. The handlebar doesn't turn much as well. If you are ever test riding one, just make sure you don't tilt the bike in these low speed maneuvers. The cornering test was done with satisfaction, and I decided to get back to my bike and let Arnab show me how he usually rides the motorcycle. The Hayabusa is a different type of motorcycle. The abundance of cubic capacity really affects the power delivery of this bike. The top end power band on Japanese liter bikes is not present here. Actually, there is no power band. There is power everywhere, and it's strong but comes in a very smooth way. This gives the motorcycle the characteristics of a cruiser. It has the torque to match the equation as well. Riding fast bikes slow is kind of irritating to me. The Busa is an exception to that, and even on a relaxed cruise at 80 to 100 km per hour, the bike felt great to be on. Being a large motorcycle, the balance point is huge, and while riding the bike on straights, it felt like the motorcycle was on auto balance, and it didn't require any input from me at all. The suspension also gobbled up the bumps, but there wasn't a huge suspension travel, and the bike maintained its composure, which is great for our Indian road conditions. Combine that with the legendary aerodynamics, and what you get is a stability which is comparable to a car. The big engine also means that you don't need to go really hard at it. I call it mid-range monster because I've never felt a mid-range stronger than this on any motorcycle. In 2013, the motorcycle got Brembo monoblock discs and an ABS system. This being an older bike, still runs the Tokiko brakes and doesn't have ABS. The only feature it has is the Suzuki's drive mode selector, or SDMS.
And it has three modes, mode A, B, C, and so if you put the mode C, then it's very okay with the city rides and all.
I was happy with the Hayabusa's poise, the stability it offered, and the strong yet relaxed power delivery it had for me. But the Hayabusa has a manic side as well, and for that I had to turn the bike to A mode and unleash the beast within. This motorcycle is way too fast and it does the speed effortlessly. It's also unrestricted in the lower gears. It's kinda free because at one point of time I remember I was only on second gear and I was somewhere throttling around 200 kilometers per hour and I still had a lot to go. I mean, it sounds almost impossible to some people that a motorcycle can go to 200 kilometers per hour on just second gear, and it's just amazing for me because I've never taken any bike like that. But the engine feels so relaxed that I felt confident. I never felt I was damaging the engine by over revving it, even at those RPMs. The way this motorcycle builds power is just unbelievable, and the most astonishing thing is there's no fading of the power even at 200 kilometers per hour. It just keeps rising in the exact same way. I mean, when you're at 150 to 200, usually bikes have a tendency to fade after that, but here it's like 150 to 200, 200 to 250, it's the same. You just never know which speed you're on, which gear you're on. It's just building power. Wherever you are, you just have to twist and it goes. I've done a bit of research. It seems the bulbous fairing is not just a designer's whim. It's there to give this bike this phenomenal wind protection and straight line stability and aerodynamics. At one point of time, there was a slow truck changing lanes right between the highway, and I had to brake down from a very high speed. It is a heavy bike with a lot of momentum, and usual two-finger braking took a bit more effort to slow down the bike. But the bite and progressive braking from the dual Tokiko discs up front really phenomenally helped me there. The latest 2016 Suzuki Hayabusa, which is being assembled in India, it has the Brembo monoblock calipers and an ABS system, so the braking on that will be a lot better, I guess. But even these brakes have practically saved my life there, so I'm a big fan of these as well. The rear brake, well, I would not ask you to use it because the moment you start going at it, the motorcycle loses its composure, so the rear brake's pretty useless, at least on this version. And with that excessively fast part coming to an end, we just settled down for a chat and I started looking at the bike's other aspects like styling and its ergonomics. The hyper performance of the Busa comes packaged with a very comfortable ergonomics actually. Yes, it's a big bike and you have to reach for the handlebars, but somehow the Busa makes the experience completely stress-free on your back and wrists, which is the most tormented part on a sport bike. Even while cornering, you can get a good amount of grip from the seat, and the fairing has very nice recesses for the knee. Even with those Trump grips, I had a lot of confidence going into the corners. I would say it has the perfect ergonomics. If they ever upgrade the Busa, I want the ergonomics to remain the same. Speaking of upgrades, The clutch is also hydraulic and it's really nice. I mean, for such a big bike, it's a very light clutch. You have to ride to feel this, like the aerodynamic stability and the wind buffeting is just so less on this bike. You are protected from the wind. The power comes on very smoothly, so you're always in control of the situation. It makes you feel kind of luxurious. But speaking of upgrades, I think the Busa is due for one. It's 2016 now, and the last major upgrade was in 2008. First, I would like this bike to lose at least 30 kgs of weight. I know it's a lot I'm asking, but with modern materials it is possible. A traction control system is always welcome on such a big motorcycle. The rear brakes are pretty useless under hard braking, and perhaps they can be improved a bit. Apart from these 3 points, there is nothing to change with this beautiful motorcycle. The Hayabusa is not everyone's cup of tea. Its bulking mass, low speed difficulty to maneuver, and reduced flickability in corners may not appeal to all. Beginners to the superbike world would be intimidated by the heavy weight and the gut-wrenching power. But to the experienced rider, this can be the ultimate mile muncher on the highway.
So after a very hectic shoot, kind of like 40 degrees out here, so you can all understand how dehydrated we all are. Mad power on the Busa. It's even enjoyable in this kind of weather. So what do you think? Like, what was the experience today?
It was quite hectic also.
You have toured with the Busa before, like you have gone to Puri and
I've gone to Gangtok also in this May.
So
with a 42 degree temperature.
So you're pretty used to this.
Yeah.
Your previous bike was the Yamaha R1 2009, I think. Yeah. And right now you've upgraded to a 2011 Busa, which has been your bike for the last 5 years. So
no, actually last 3 years.
3 years, okay. So what is the difference that you felt when upgrading from the R1 to the 1300cc Hayabusa?
Okay, actually that Busa has a less hitting problem. Busa has a huge aerodynamic, even with a top speed like 299 and above, not get that air blast like R1.
R1 has a more aggressive sitting posture, but as Busa is a heavier bike, do you ride this within the city?
Yeah, I do ride in the city also. Actually, unlike all the other super bikes, the sitting posture of Hayabusa is very much comfortable. You know.
You definitely miss the agility of the R1 on the Busa.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There.
That's that aggressiveness and that sporty feel I really miss in this Busa. But it's okay. Actually, I love long rides along with the Sunday rides also. For the long rides, you need a bike to ride throughout the day with 700-800 kilometers. Yeah. Yes, ZX 14R is another option also, but my heart failed for Busa. That's the thing.
Have you ever ridden the 14R?
Yeah, I have ridden the 14R quite a time. But
any difference between this, or does it feel similar?
These two bikes are very similar. You know.
I would be talking about a service cost a little bit of this bike, because people want to know. We've already seen your luggage storage space, which is a very nice touch, because sport bikes have no storage space. You've added this thing up. It's useful. I think a lot of people will be interested in that. But tell us more about the service cost and maintenance.
Yeah, that's a very important question. Actually, we people from West Bengal, we are not getting the proper service because Suzuki, there is no any authorized Suzuki service center, you know. So if we want to service our bikes, then we have to bring the service person from Pune, Noida, Delhi and all. And they charge 10 to 15,000 more as an outstation charge, apart from the service cost and all.
So normal service cost would be how much apart from the...
each after 5,000 kilometer you need to change your engine mobile and mobile filter, and the tires also.
Yeah.
So and for the tires you need to spend 20-25,000 for both the tires. And after 8 to 10,000 kilometer, I think you need to change your brake pad.
So the tire life is only 5,000 kilometers.
Yeah, after that
that's pretty less for even you're running hard compounds on the Michelins, I think. Yeah. Pilot Road 2. So even if you're going for a softer option, it will be tire life will be even more reduced. Yes. I think the stock bike currently comes with Pirellis, and The stock bike currently has the 2014 onwards model, probably gets Brembo calipers. Yeah. Do you take pillions on this? Of course you cannot, because you have moved.
Actually, I cannot take that pillion for this rear cowl. I like this rear cowl to get the bike more sporty. But yes, pillion ride is very much comfortable with the Hayabusa, unlike all other super bikes, because that aggressiveness, that nose down angle is much more than Hayabusa. So Hayabusa is a straight bike. You can
and even the rear seat, as you can see, it's not that higher up.
No,
it's just a little step seat.
Too much comfortable. You can make the pillion rider.
Yeah. So apart from like your height and weight would be around?
My height 5'11" and weight around 78, 79. So it's okay for me, but I think as the saddle height of Hayabusa is very less than all other super bikes, then that height doesn't matter over here.
What about the weight? Like new riders would be apprehensive. It's around.
That matters a lot because controlling this bike in traffic or in a highway also with this much of weight matters a lot.
Someone who's
For the
not
new riders, I never would suggest a Hayabusa. First take some another bike like 600, 800. Then you get used to with that much of weight, that much of throttle. Then go for Hayabusa, no problem.
One bad thing, I'd say, it's not a bad thing actually, but it's kind of deceptive. Like I was going over 200, and unless I look at the speedometer, I don't realize it. So that can be dangerous.
If you ask me this question, then I would say this is a positive thing, because as per my point of view, that aerodynamics, that Hayabusa has the world's best aerodynamic.
Even the chassis is very stable, because the
you will not get that vibration also. You will not feel that you are riding the bike with a speed of 260 to 270 and all. So I think this is a positive thing. But yes, some experience must be there. Otherwise,
it's kind of dangerous, because I was feeling that I'm slower. Maybe after a few days you get used to, you know that you are going that fast. Because when I was onto the bike, I thought maybe I was 150, 160. I looked at the speedometer, it's over 200, and I was like, I'm going too fast for a public road. So I slowed down there.
So this is the characteristics of a hyper sports bike. And
maybe on the ZX10R, ZX14R, we'd have the same.
Has the same thing.
That's it. We are packing up for today. If you like this review, subscribe to Ride with Rahul and like this video and share this video. So I guess that's it for the Suzuki Hayabusa. It's a hyper bike. It's 1300cc. It's one of the best things really. And we're signing off today from here with the very popular Arnab. Thanks for the opportunity for letting me ride the Suzuki Hayabusa.
And subscribe with the Rahul, please. He's a very good person and he's a very good review also.
Thanks for that. We are rolling off today. See you soon. Thanks for watching.
Along with that Sunday rides. So,
again, a little interruption.